All right, you guys, welcome to the Big Messy Bun, episode 26. I am joined today by someone who is bold and beautiful and badass, and I cannot fucking wait to get to know this girl. You're going to get to know her like as I am, like in real time. She just logged on. She has a couple of kiddos. She forgot they had school today. I forgot that I worked today, kind of, sort of. I kind of knew, but I was like, Fridays are my day off. And I'm like, oh, right, I work too. So we decided to just not visit. A lot of times when you get on a podcast, you always talk to the host like 15 minutes or so to get to know each other. And I said to her, we're going to lose the vibe. We're going to lose that initial vibe that you get when you meet someone who's really fucking cool and you want to just meet them as they are. So welcome to the show, Krista-Lee, designer of DBL Designs, and I'm so freaking jacked. I can't even contain it. So I'm going to just I'm going to throw you the mic right away and let you introduce who you are, what you're about, and how it is we got here today.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like we're matching each other's energy today because I am just as excited to be here. My name is Krista-Lee. You nailed it. It's absolutely. And I am the CEO and founder of DBL. And you know what? When I get big intros, I feel like you did a very good job doing that. I'm like, when people, even my kids ask me, this is a great way when you ask your kids, like, what do you think of when you think of mom? And I got a really cool answer. And they said I'm kind of goofy. And I thought, oh, well, you know what? That's a great way to describe me because I feel like I love to have fun. Even sometimes my kids look at me like, what the hell are you doing? Even my husband. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's when you're doing something right, when you're just living your truth. And even the people closest to you think you're kind of a little bit like crazy. And I think that's the best way to live. So that's how I'm going to introduce myself. I think I'm a little bit out there, a little bit extra. And I haven't always been that way for most of my life. I think growing up, I was always so quiet and reserved and held back. And I think that's why I am the way I am today, because I held back so much of my beautiful parts of myself that I was like, oh no, screw that. So I think that's why, like, people, when they associate me to bright and bold and beautiful and colorful and all of those amazing adjectives, I think it's really wonderful. So
I love this. I love this. So as you were saying that, I was reflecting back. I always keep this photo of myself, this little tiny Katey. I keep her with me as a reminder of this little wild child I was the wild one. And then guess what happened to this woman? She dimmed her light, Krista-Lee. She dimmed her light for many years to fit into people's spaces because I was told I was too much. I was told I talked too much. I was told over and over, you're kind of weird. And guess what? In the last 5 years, I've been rebuilding this human right here. And I am so going back to this silly girl, but I'm going to add to it. I was teaching a class I teach all types of fitness classes. And this one group I teach at a retirement home. And I am just like this. The only thing I don't do with them is I don't drop cuss words with them. That is it. I have got a teacher filter and I can wear it when necessary. However, this is my show and I let all things go. But I said to them yesterday, after I made them laugh, we were doing something, I said something silly. I said, I am super silly, but as silly as I am incredibly serious about living with intention and about your health and your safety and how you live. So as much as I am silly, I am so serious. And I see that in you. And I took a quote. So I have to shout out Nicole. She is a farmer girl in Alberta who sent me the post that you made. Hey, anybody want me on your podcast? Until then, I didn't know who this amazing woman was. So thank you, Nicole, for that.
Very cool.
And you sent me a message right away. And you know what I loved? In like the first engagement, you sent me your phone number. You're like, hey girl, you can just text me. I'm like, She's not a fucking weirdo. I love this. She's my type. So then we had a couple of interactions and I wanted you on, but I was just starting my podcast and I wanted my first 3 months to just be a solo career to kind of get it going. And now I'm ready to bring on amazing guests that change this world. So that's why you're here. And look what you sent me. You said this to me. Well, you said a lot of things. We've been chatting a lot in our inbox. But what I loved and what I connected to is something that I wrote it out all fancy and shit. I'll send you a picture of it. Every piece is designed to be like your wearable cheerleader. And then I put a little squiggly Krista-Lee. And listen, I am a human cheerleader. And sometimes I can't get in everyone's corner. So I'm like, we need jewelry and we need body wearable stuff that makes people feel like that. I have just one piece. I'm just new to Krista-Lee's bubble, you guys. And I love this little piece. It's a heart mini and it is dual-sided. Yes, you're going to want to watch on YouTube. You can't watch two incredible, beautiful, bold women on a podcast like Apple or Spotify. Okay, Apple, Spotify, don't get pissed with me, but go to the YouTube as well.
Yes.
To see what we are into today.
And you need that energy. I feel like when I like watching listening to podcasts, obviously if I'm in the car, but in my mind, I'm always trying to visualize what they look like or what they're wearing. And then I have to I have to go and see what they look like and watch it on YouTube.
Exactly. It's just part of it. So I'd love to, I wrote down a few things that I've really admired in you. The other day, it was kind of fun. We were chatting in our inbox and I told her my age and she's like, oh, you're my mom's age. And I'm like, yeah, I probably am.
Right? I was like, that's badass. That's what I'm going to touch on that as well. I had a lady reach out to be part of our ambassador program and she was like, you know what? I'm going for it. She's like, I'm 67 and I don't care. I'm like, age is just a number. Honestly, I don't even keep track because why it doesn't matter. It's like, it's a gift to celebrate another trip around the sun. And honestly, I think it's worth celebrating. So when you said that, I was like, yes, like there is no limit. And I think we sometimes put those limitations on ourselves and it shouldn't matter. And it does, like for me, does not matter.
It so does.
That's really cool.
I love that we can vibe. Like I have people that I vibe with that are like, I have some at the retirement home that are just my jam and we get each other. I don't know how many times myself and one other woman there, she's 82. I don't know how many times we get to work and we're dressed like almost the same. I'm like, this is freaking crazy. Either she's really cool and dressing like me or I'm dressing like an 82-year-old. I don't know. But the listeners here today that are going to hear you and hear about your beautiful story, we have teenagers that listen all the way up to the one that I know is in her 80s. So we get the whole span of it. We get it all. And so I want them to hear just how badass you were in doing what you've been doing, how long you've been doing it. A lot of people see Krista-Lee today and they think, oh, she's so lucky. Wow, look at her. Please tell the listeners a little bit about how DBL came to be and when, like how long you've been at this.
Absolutely. And I think that's the funny part. I've maybe in my whole lifetime of meeting entrepreneurs, and I love meeting entrepreneurs, is one of my favorite things. So I've met hundreds of thousands of people. And I bet you out of all of them, maybe there's two that have been an overnight success. Like it does not happen, right? It is very rare that happens. And honestly, for me, I've been doing this 11 years, but in hindsight, I feel like when you truly find your purpose and your mission, it's been part of you your whole life, right? It just starts to the dots start to connect the further you go and the more you push yourself through the fear and the uncertainty and you really find your calling. And I know that sometimes that might sound cliche because I know I've spent a good portion of my life being like, what is my purpose? What is my calling? Like I've always wanted to help people, especially coming out of high school, which I think is so much pressure for people where they're like, well, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Holy, right? So even for me, like out of high school, I wanted to go into nursing again, still like wrapping your head around like wanting to help people. But as that progressed, it just, yeah, it turned into, I ended up going to cosmetology school, which is to be a hairstylist, which I was like, so crazy how I was like one extreme to the next and still helping
But
women
both
feel
help people.
beautiful,
Yeah.
right? And making
Yeah.
them feel celebrated. So I did that actually for 11 years. And that's literally how my whole business started, was just from a client asking me where I had got one of my necklaces. And I said, well, I made it. And she's like, no way, would you make me one? And I actually thought it was like the strangest question because I've never made something for somebody else. And I literally ran to the back bar where we mix up our color and my boss was there. And I was like, this lady just asked me to make her a necklace. Like, I was like, what the hell? And she's like, well, make her one. I was like, oh, I guess. Like, what do I charge her? I had no idea. Like, it just
Yep.
seemed like, so this, like, long story short, end up making her one. And I was like, holy shit, that was really cool. And my boss was very supportive. And she's like, yeah, put some of those pieces at the front of the salon and we'll
Nice.
sell them. And I was like, cool, yeah. And my mom's birthday was coming up on April 1st. This was 2012. So I made my mom a beautiful piece and I posted it to Instagram. This is when Instagram for me was kind of just getting going. This would have been like 13 years ago. And I posted a picture of what I made my mom on April 1st, and it went, this probably was not a term back then either, absolutely viral. And I had, not a word of a lie, probably close to 150, 160 direct messages of people wanting this piece. And I was like, oh my,
Good
like,
for
I was like,
you.
what just happened?
Yeah.
And so I kind of called myself a little bit of an accidental entrepreneur. And I kind of ran with it. And I was like, okay, there's clearly a calling for what I'm doing here. People are liking it. It's unique. It's different. So I kind of shifted gears there and really just started making these jewelry pieces. And about 3 months into that, I was really kicking ass. And like, not to toot my own horn, but I was already making double what I was making as a hairstylist. So I was like,
Nice.
wow, okay, this
Yeah.
guy's kind of the limit here. And I thought, okay, sometimes it was just as simple as posting something and making something for a client. Every big thing that's happened in my life to date has not been a big jump or a big thing that I've done. It's been a small action, a
Yep.
small ask, a small little something that's turned into something bigger than I could have ever imagined. So I ended up leaving my job as a hairstylist, which my boss was very supportive of. She's like, yes, please go.
Yeah.
The universe is telling you you must go.
Oh, I
And
love
so
it.
I ran with that and I did it for about a year. After I had left there, every year it was growing and growing and growing. And I thought, oh my God, okay, this is amazing. I can do this from home, have kids. And my whole world changed when I had kids.
Yeah.
Again, nobody can prepare you for, I loved being pregnant. I loved all of it. I had my kids back to back, almost born in the same calendar year, like almost Irish twins. So I think the hormones and the postpartum rocked my world. I ended up so depressed for close to 3 years. 3 years afterwards, I was unrecognizable. I was always bright, cheery, like the girl you see here, but that rocked my absolute world. Um, Very much so, like just borderline suicidal, like
Yeah.
very, very rocked my world. And I think in those darkest times, like, thank God I had a very amazing support system. But I think that's where everything kind of pivoted with my brand as well. What brought me out of the darkness, which I thought was more just like of a healing journey, actually turned into what my business is now today, with more of the words and uplifting messages.
Yep.
Because for the last year of my postpartum, when I was kind of at my lowest low, all I did was I would just grab bright, beautiful, colorful Sharpies. I have Sharpies everywhere in our house, absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
And I would just write words over and over, uplifting words, because what was going on in my head was not good.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, shit, if I could just write something out that can maybe give me a little bit of uplifting, a little spark, a little joy. The colors were uplifting too, but the words were also, and I kept doing that. And like, I shit you not, when I was writing them, like, I didn't believe a word I was writing, but the more I did it, I
The more you
started
did it.
believing these words. And after 3 months, I would wake up in the morning, that would be the first thing I do. I'd either go onto Pinterest or just out of my mind and just write these empowering words over and over. And I was like, holy shit, I kind of started getting this spark and this joy
Oh,
and this little bit of me back where I was just like, I started believing the words I was writing. So I thought, well, that's really powerful. If you can change your inner narrative where these words that I was thinking and speaking were showing up in my day, yeah, not showing up as a good version of myself. I'll say that. But these words transformed me. I literally started like loving myself again and giving myself grace. And this, I was just like, okay. So I was like, if this is helping me through just about the lowest point of my life where I was thinking of taking my own life, I thought, well, shit, this could probably help some other people. So I started stamping these words onto necklaces and bracelets, wearable pieces that I could put on every day so that I didn't have to have my little sticky note with me all over. And I would just wear these words, and I still have some really cool ones on today. And I remember when my kids were like 1 and 2 and just like learning to talk and walk and all the things. And I was reciting to myself, you are a rock star. You are a rock star. You are a rock star. And my kids, they'd be like, they'd come out of nowhere. They'd be like, Mommy, you're a rock star. So it was the power of me also saying it out loud, and these words that I was wearing changed everything for me. So I don't take it lightly, where now I'm just like, I want to go all in with this, because I feel like there's a lot of women out there that lack confidence in the self-worth and really struggle with anxiety and depression and loving who they are. So that's been the journey that I'm on. Is not that we'll ever fully be like, oh, I've made it, or the end of the journey, but I think it's just really cool to learn more about yourselves and these words that we're speaking, right? And helping women really change that inner narrative. And
Absolutely.
I think that's why I'm obsessed with the color and the hearts and the words. Those are the 3 staples of our brand: the words, the mantras, the bright, bold colors, and the hearts. The hearts, it's the
hearts really
of love, man.
So I got to share with you a heart story. Okay. So I'm going to jump in here for just a moment, because
go, girl.
The hearts really hit me. So my hearts, I am the same. I've got hearts everywhere. Like they're all around everywhere in my home. And I collect heart rocks. Like I will go, you can find them, and I love them. I love gifting them. I love keeping them. So in 2020, I moved from Manitoba to BC in 2019. My marriage ended in 2020 during COVID. I had no job, no income, no car, and I was left with, I have 3 children and 2 stepkids. So I was left with the last kid at home. He was only 17, 18 at the time. And we set out on our own with nothing. Like we sold every piece of furniture we could sell to make rent in a city where we only knew his hockey team. Like that was our hockey family. And we'd only played with them 3 months, 6 months. Like it wasn't even a team that we had been with forever.
Right.
And COVID hit, right? So everything fell apart. And we were walking into our apartment the first night, and we even had to lie about my income to get the apartment. Like the lady's like, where do you work? And I'm like, oh, I'm self-employed. And which I was, but I hadn't been running a business for years, or at least 18 months. And so then I was walking into the apartment, and I found this heart-shaped rock just sitting right by like his vehicle. And I picked it up. I said to Casper, that's my boy's name. I said, oh my gosh, Casper. I said, it's a heart. It's like my heart. It's like mine's probably a little bigger and probably pinker and stuff, but like it's a great rock. And I've been using this rock to write words of motivation. So back to your words, like you wrote them on paper. I wrote them on rocks. I have journals upon journals upon journals. And I get what you're saying about reading them and reminding yourself, even though, so my first word in 2020 was brave. I had to be so brave to walk away and start my life over with nothing. And it took the most bravery I've ever had to have. And I didn't really feel it at the time. I was crushed. I was so broken.
Yes.
But I kept reading it. I kept reading it. And then by 2021, I wrote the word resilient. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do this. And anyways, as the years have gone on, I've saved this rock, and I've journaled long before journaling was popular. Like
Right?
I journaled when I was pregnant with my babies, and my kids are like 27, 25, and 22. So like I've been journaling a long time, and I get what you're saying about writing down the things. I would kind of keep a gratitude journal. I would write down the things I was grateful for. And sometimes it was like air. I'm grateful for the air today. When you're so low, it's hard to find it. So I love that you've created pieces that people can throw on their body. I love my mini, by the way. It is perfect. It it's just the right, like for me, I said this on an episode a couple episodes ago. I love my collarbone. And it's because I'm so flat. Like this is my like I like my collarbone.
I love that though.
Isn't that funny?
So
But it sits.
true.
It's so pretty there. And I'm gonna get some other pieces as time goes on. It's just makes you feel special. And the heart, I have like
Absolutely.
so many heart necklaces. I'm like, this is crazy. I meant to meet this girl. And when you agreed to come on the show today, I was like, the world is going to have two badass women in their corner that they can go to and just say,
Yes,
you know what? Those two made it. I can do it too. Wrote this down.
absolutely.
Everything is figure outable. Everything. And I think people, back to what you said about it wasn't one big thing. It's these little nuggets, right? It's these little things. I think people think something massive has to take place. And what it is these little consistent little things that show up. And listen to your intuition. When you're at your next get together, this is for the listener. When you're at your next get together and you bring a fucking apple pie that makes people want to holy shit, like that's better than you know what. You're meant to make that fucking pie and do
Right?
something with that pie. Like, don't hold the pie to yourself. That is selfish. Make pies.
Absolutely.
And guess what, ladies? It is okay to make money on your pie, too.
Right?
You can make some money with your pie,
Absolutely.
right?
Honestly, girl, and I think that's I'm going to tie into that because when I think going back to wanting to be a nurse and then the hairdresser thing and then all of the things, I've always had that underlying thing of wanting to help. And even as I was doing the jewelry, before what I'm doing now, it always kind of felt flat. Like I kept saying to my husband, I just want to help. But that can look like so many different ways. Like you
So
said,
many.
if it's somebody eating a delicious pie that makes them feel so good and they're like smiling ear to ear, you're helping someone.
100%.
Right?
100%. And
Like,
they're helping
it doesn't have to be
themselves.
huge.
Yes.
Yes. Like,
Right?
oh my
And
gosh. I
something,
think yeah.
oh my God, we're both like, ah. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it.
It's
Oh,
so true.
I,
But I
okay.
think like you said too, this one will be for the listeners too. Again, for me, if there's something that you're stuck in, or like you said, if you're at that your rock bottom, or life's just not the way you want it to be, or something doesn't feel right and you're like you have no idea what to do, a lot of the times, like you said, we think it needs to be this huge shift and this huge change, but it really doesn't. Like you said, it can be just picking one word that you focus on, that maybe it's bravery, maybe it's courage, maybe it's committed to me, or whatever it is. Maybe it's a word, or maybe it's one action that you change. Like for me, I got up every morning, instead of sitting there feeling sorry for myself, crying in my depression, I decided to write out some words in journal, or gratitude. Or maybe you switch up your routine so much that you get up, instead of, like, for me, mornings were horrendous. I would just fall right in. Like I wanted to go back to sleep and like forget about all the shit that was going on. Change something, go for a walk, do something, or move your body, right? Like do something that switches the patterns of what you've always been doing. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be something just simple where you just make a shift, but consistency of doing it for a
Oh,
stretch of time of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then before you know it, you're like, shit, I don't even recognize myself anymore, because I've decided to put me first. And as women, especially moms, I know this, I think we have that mom guilt or whatever it is. Bullshit. Put that aside, and you need to put yourself first, because again, the whole airplane thing, and I'm not going to say it because we've all heard it, you need to put your own mask on, but like, no, for me, I make sure I do all the things for myself first, because that does make me a better mom, a better partner, a better leader in my company, all the things by putting myself first. So
yep. It's so
I don't want
true.
to preach about that, but it is. It's one of the things
Preach.
that I shifted huge in my life.
Yep.
Was I get up in the morning, I make sure that I do something for myself, whether it's a walk outside with the dogs or I move my body, which I think is so important what you do, or I sit down with a coffee in silence and nobody talks to me for the first half hour. I just need that. Like whatever it is, do it for you. I
Yep.
don't care what it looks like.
You said one of
Yeah.
my favorite words, girl, and you said the word consistency. And I
Yeah.
think this is where we get it.
Yeah.
Where people
100%.
they overcomplicate shit. And I'm like,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be fancy schmancy
No.
shit, but
No.
you got to do it. Last week's podcast, I talked about, about consistency in our wellness journeys, but it goes
Yeah.
for anything. Like
Anything in life.
anything. You're trying to build a business, put some time in consistently. You're trying to reno a house, put the time in. Okay, listen, I think are you a farmer family? I see you with horses.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah, we
Okay,
are. We're on a
so
farm.
let's just think of this. Could you ever just magically have crops in the fall? No. You got to fucking plant in the spring, and then you got to put some stuff in there. Even on the days you don't want to get out of bed, you got to feed them horses and walk the chickens or whatever you do. You've got to do this stuff. And you got to
go. The thing is, even in the midst of it all, like exactly what you're saying, you can plant all those seeds. And this is where it comes in with the belief and everything in yourself, which I think is the coolest part. And what I'm definitely working with right now is just believing that magical things are going to happen, even though you can't see them happening. Like when you're planting those seeds and we're like, fuck, I don't think the crop's coming in this year. I don't think it's coming in. Why do we instantly go to that? Be like, no, it's coming in. It's going to be better than ever. Yep. It's going to be better than ever. And then before you know it, if you put in that time and energy in the sun and the water and you keep putting in that love and energy, boom, it's going to sprout, right?
Exactly.
And just all the things are happening. You just can't see it all going on underneath the surface, right? You just need to believe and trust that it's going to happen, right? So I think that's just as important as the consistency. You need to believe in yourself, even when you're like, this sounds impossible, but I'm going to believe in it anyway. Like, yep. I think you have to have a little bit of a screw loose, just a little bit sometimes, like that you're just like, I'm going to keep going no matter what.
Yep.
So just saying, all of the crazy stuff I've been through, that has been the underlying, which actually is the middle part of DBL, which I always say is the secret ingredient. It's dream, believe, live. And I think seriously, what's got me to the live of living my dream has been that belief, the middle part of believing in who you are and what it is that you want.
100%.
It's 100% the ingredient of what you need with anything in your life, right? So,
well, and I think
belief and yeah.
And I think when people can't see it, something that I think entrepreneurs, especially our kind of entrepreneurial people, like that are like this, we have a wild imagination. Like, we can visualize shit that people can't. And so yesterday I was teaching a class in the evening and I said, I've been teaching fitness for 35 years, like longer than most of my participants have been alive. I've been physically teaching fitness in some way, shape, or form. And absolutely. I said, do you think I've stayed this consistent just exercising? No, I've made 7,200 Olympic Games. I have conquered Mount Everest 6,000 times because I use my imagination. And I do it even with my seniors that I teach. I tell them, we got to do things and pretend, put your mind into it. And when you put your mind into it, you get better neuromuscular connection as well, which is fantastic. And you get more of a rush. You get more of that vibe. You get more of that feeling. And then it's not boring. You keep going. But it is a gift to tap into it. And it works in the gym. It works when you're depressed after a baby or after a breakup. So for a time there, Krista-Lee, when I was rebuilding myself, I worked at Tim Hortons. At 50, I celebrated my 50th birthday there. I started when I was 49 and 3/4, just like a 5-year-old. I'm 49 and 3/4. I started then, I turned 50. I was one of the oldest. No, I was the oldest employees there. I was older than the owners by like 15 years. but I did something different there. I changed my mindset around what I was doing.
Yes.
I
Yes.
wasn't serving coffee, and I figured that out really soon. I was serving up happiness, and I
Yes.
didn't always feel like it. There was times I was serving and doing my thing and changing lives. Even at a Tim Hortons, you can serve and feel damn good, even when you're broke and broken. And it
Absolutely.
slowly pulled me out. And when I'm meeting some of the people now, like I don't live there, they're meeting me online through this, what I'm doing now. They're blown away. They're like, we would have had no clue. I said, of course you had no clue. I wasn't going to be like, here's your coffee. I hope you have a great fucking life. I hope your husband doesn't XYZ on you. Blah, blah. Like, I was like,
Right?
no, I served up happiness. I changed lives. And when I left there, I knew I impacted my customers because many of them came in with farewell gifts for me. And my
Yeah.
boss was like, this doesn't happen. Like, this does not happen. I said,
That's
well,
amazing.
but it was a Tim Hortons. So here's the message to the listener. You don't have to be a jewelry designer or a fitness instructor like me or whatever. You might be working at your job, but get to a place where you're serving and feel that. And that's where I know Krista-Lee and myself, we are all in. And
Absolutely.
if there's something scratching at your soul, even if you're working at a Tim Hortons right now, even if you're the garbage man right now, but there's something brewing inside of you that you need to scratch, scratch it, but scratch it consistently.
Absolutely.
You want to write a book?
Absolutely.
Do it in nuggets,
Absolutely.
right?
I say that all the time. I feel like I preach it where I'm like, you know what? Even if you work at Canada Post, whatever, I'm like, be the best Canada Post person there is. Put a smiley face sticker on every package. Like, make people like. I don't know why people half-ass what they do. I've never been a half-asser in my life, and like, no disregard to any like not cutting down anybody, but I'm like, man, like we only get one crack at this, so why not do it to the best of our abilities? Even if, like you said, it's the way you hand the coffee, or even our bus driver. My kids are so freaking stoked to get on that bus because he's the best. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, why not have that little bit where we can just pass on a little bit of our goodness onto the next person, like
Yes.
that butterfly effect of just
Yes.
brightening other people's days? Because I know life is not, I'm not saying we all have it figured out or it's easy, but there is so much joy in it if we can just like reframe it. And I feel like that's one of my superpowers, like flipping the script and always looking for something beautiful, like the magic in the mess, or like me channeling my own pain into purpose, or taking my hurt and harnessing it. Like, there is so much magic in the, like, people are so afraid of the negative emotion,
Yep.
right? That we feel like it's uncomfortable. Like, but Jesus, like, have you guys ever heard of Taylor Swift? All of her songs come from a place of hurt and pain,
Yeah.
and she channels that into something so beautiful. And I feel like that's the thing too. Like, we can do so much with the harnessing of, if we're having a bad day. I always am like, fuck, the last thing I want to do is be around people. But then, like, well, maybe I'm just going to go give this lady a little compliment. And then boom, my whole day turns around because I forced myself to do something that was uncomfortable. And like, it's just, it's one of those things where I think the magic for me has always been in the mess and taking action, even when it's uncertain. So
Yep.
yesterday I've been putting off doing two small actions. One was sending an email, and the other one was sending a package. And I reached out to the person, I sent the email, and I was like, I've been putting this off for probably about 6 weeks. And I finally just did it. And her response blew my mind. It was like a hard yes, 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 1000%. And I was just like, girl, like, why do you get all up in your head?
Yep.
And it was just as simple as sending an email, and we think we like know what the response is going to be, but it was the complete opposite. And it literally was a huge change in trajectory of how our business is going to go. And it was from sending one simple little email. So guys, like, we are the only ones getting in
Yep.
our own way. So if we could just be like, okay, just freaking do the thing and stop overthinking it, because you have no idea what's on the other side of that next step, that next email. That's like, just start before you're ready. Okay.
100%.
Like, stop making excuses and just do
100%.
the dang thing.
100%.
Like,
I'm just
do
sitting
the
over
dang
here
thing.
vibrating. I'm like,
God.
oh my God, if we were in a room together, I think the energy, I think we could like light Christmas lights right now because our energy
Oh,
is
totally.
so good. So
Oh,
good.
yeah.
People, you're going to
So,
want to save this episode. Like, you're going to
yes.
save it for those days you lose your faith in yourself or something shitty happens or whatever. Reframe it. And you're right. You don't have to have it figured out, but
No.
everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it's probably not meant to be figured
No.
out. Like,
No.
and
It's
so
probably
when
not
you
meant to be with you. Let it go.
let it go, let it go. I have a little rock, another little rock that I save by my table. And this one says, what is this here to teach me? This was
Yes.
another rock I found when I moved into this place. So I moved back to Manitoba 2 years ago, and I was lost again. I was like, oh boy, what kind of growth is coming this time? Because I always look
Yes.
for the growth now. And so I
Yes.
found this broken rock outside my apartment, brought it inside, and I wrote on it right away. What is this here to teach me? And I've kept it with me. And I ask that of myself immediately when shit goes sideways. What is this here to teach me? What is this
Yes.
here to teach me? And I ask it, it reframes it instantly from why the fuck is this happening again?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And when you ask the question, what is this here to teach me? Then you're going to grow from it. And
100%.
it's just a reframe, a simple reframe. So again, folks, go get yourself a little rock. Order yourself some jewelry. Do what you need to do. Get some Sharpies and start doodling, whatever it looks like.
Absolutely.
Krista-Lee, I do not want to wrap this up yet without you sharing what recently happened to you, which is just blowing the socks off of, like, your Instagram has just been like making me go like, whoa, like the last, if you didn't see that, I would like, leaned back in my chair like I've been taken off in a jet.
That's
So
amazing.
let's
That's how
share.
I feel too. This
Let's
year,
share.
yes, every year I pick a word, and last year my word was all in. I actually think it says it on the side of my hat. I get a hat made with my word on it too, and I actually have it tattooed on my body. I just put it everywhere, and I decided last year really set me up. I went all in on every decision I made. And I was kind of like ticked off at the end of the year that the things that I was trying to manifest didn't manifest. But holy shit, I still kept going with that consistency. And guess what? This year I chose the word epic. And everything from last year that I was trying to manifest happened this year.
Nice.
Like bing, bang, boom, like Bob's your uncle. Like, I cannot shit you not. You can't make this stuff up. I've been on 3 different TV shows. One was Dragon's Den. We filmed season 20. I cannot let you guys know yet what happens. You'll have to watch this fall when it airs, which was incredible. I filmed a TV show with the Women's Empowerment TV show, and we're actually heading to Toronto on June 26th here to film another TV show. Just you know what? I'm like, you couldn't get me to go on Instagram live and talk on anything like that about 2 years ago. Now I'm like, yeah, I just want to be on every TV show possible. Like, I love it. Put me on a stage. Like, I just love it. Right. And then we actually have some really insane things happening. Can't disclose a lot about them, but I bet you some of your listeners, if not most of them, probably have her book sitting in their audiobooks or in their houses. This person is absolutely incredible, and we got the privilege to collab with her. And I just am mind blown. Again, just simple asks and putting it out into the universe, and it freaking happened, you guys. So like, don't be afraid to ask and just go for it, because I spent all of last year just manifesting, working my butt off, like putting in the reps, like you said. And then this year, like, you can't get a body that you want, dream body, without putting in the reps, right? And then all of a sudden, dang, I was so happy I kept doing the reps, because this year it basically feels like my dream body year. I was like, hell yes!
Oh, I
It's
love
all
it.
happening because you put in the work, the consistency. I believed in it, even when I couldn't see anything happening. Even when the year came to an end, I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. But I kept going. And then like 2 weeks into the new year, I was like, boom, 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 boom. All the things just started aligning. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, oh my God, I'm so happy I didn't just quit because it didn't happen last year, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the last thing I want to leave the listeners with is, honestly, what if you stopped right before that thing that you wanted so badly was right there? What if it was 2 millimeters away? What if it was one ask, one push up, one call, whatever it is? What if it was right there and then you just stopped, right? That's why I always encourage people to just keep going, even when you can't see those seeds doing their magic under the dirt, because it's coming. And honestly, did you know on the fruit tree, the last thing to grow is the fruit? So it's like everything's blossoming and blooming, and then boom, the last thing to come on a fruit tree is the fruit. So remember that.
Yes.
Remember that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Krista-Lee, this has been exactly as I hoped and vision. I had a vision. I will tell you though, and I'm going to tell the listeners, I sent her a message this morning. I'm like, I had a freaking nightmare last night that she came on and she was this really conceited dude and it was weird and oh, it was so bizarre. I'm like, oh my God. I woke up this morning. I'm like, Katey, that wasn't real. Another part of my dream, I was also in a obstacle course with my stepson, and we were doing like burpees and push-ups and long runs, and we were kicking ass. And I just sent him a message, and he just like laughed. He's like, "That's fucking awesome." So all our dreams, they're all wild.
Nothing worse than
right?
Like, when you're like, you have this expectation of somebody. I remember going to this huge mastermind group, and all of the girls before I came into the room were like, I sure hope she's like as nice and as bubbly as she is on like her Instagram. And then I got there and I was just like, what? But like, how disappointing would it have been that like you get there and you're just like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
100%. I've had that
not?
happen.
Like,
yeah. I have had that happen where I've met someone that was so nice and then I'm like, oh, you're just not really her.
Yeah,
okay.
You're like, well, shit, good enough.
Right? I love when people meet me in real life. They're always like, you're exactly as you are. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty easy being me. So we're going to wrap up, but don't take off. I want to get a couple pictures with you. I love giving a little promotion to the podcast. So I am going to wrap up episode 26 of the Big Messy Bun. If you are not following this girl, where is the best place for them to follow you, Krista-Lee?
Yes, always on Instagram. That is my jam, our jam, everything. It's bright and colorful neon. You can't miss us. So DBL Designs 3, which is my lucky number. So DBL Dream Believe Live Designs on Instagram. And honestly, like you said, anybody's free to reach out to me there and I will answer them. It is my favorite thing. I even told the producers on Dragon's Den, I spend my first hour in the morning with my coffee, just going through DMs and replying to people. And I don't always get to all of them. Some of our team does take care of some of them. But if there is something that is like somebody needs help or they really want something special from me specifically, I always make sure to make it a priority because I love this community so much. Like, message me anytime. Long story short.
Wonderful.
Like I said, I'm like, yeah, here's my cell number. Send me a text. Let's chat, right? Like it's one of those things. Like, I love you guys so much and everybody's welcome in the community.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being a guest on the Big Messy Bun. Folks, if you're listening to this, please follow this show. This is how we grow. And I look forward to our next time together, Krista-Lee.
Absolutely.
And happy Friday. It's Friday in our
Friday
world.
the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
So lucky. So lucky.
So lucky. So we're going to wrap up. And you guys have yourselves a great day. Talk to you next time.